All right. Well, namaste. Thank you for joining me. And I'm very happy I made it back from my chiropractic appointment to be with you. I have been inspired this week. I know at the very beginning of the week, we started with the Rumi quote: love is the bridge between us and everything. And we did a lot of bridge poses and back bending. But since that practice, I've really been um, inspired by this little book here. I posted it on Facebook. It's a tiny little book. It's very thin, but it's called Metaphysical Meditations, and it's by Paramahansa Yogananda. And Yogananda is the guru of my particular lineage of yoga. It's hard to believe when I read his writings that English was not his first or his second language. He was well versed in several languages, English being one. And it's just amazing to me how he writes or did write. And I want to share a reading with you at the very beginning of our practice. And then I want to share it again at the end of the practice, because I want you to notice how at the beginning of the practice, you may be in a different mindset. You may be holding a different frequency of energy. You may or may not be receiving these words. And then at the end of the practice, I'll do the same reading. And I just want you to do that cross comparison to see how you arrive to a place where you could maybe receive it more, or um, kind of understand what he's trying to say at the end of the practice. This is a slow flow / yin class. We are going to be doing a little of both today. And I'll go ahead and meet you on the mat, and you can go ahead and start supine on your back. So when you come to your mat, have your strap close by, because we're going to be using it pretty early on. And if you want to just take the corpse pose, where you're reclined and the legs are spread a little wider than hip distance, arms to a degree away from your waist, with your palms spun open. And of course, as soon as you get into this position, you can cater to your needs. For instance, if your low back's uncomfortable, you can plug that bolster underneath your thighs. It's okay to bend the knees and do a little scooping and tucking of the belly and tailbone. And if you feel like your head is not comfortable, feel free to provide a blanket underneath. So I want to encourage you to go ahead and close your eyes. There are different practices where we prefer eyes open or closed. Typically in yin and restorative, we tend to keep the eyes closed more, unless of course we're moving to and from on the mat. And one reason we close the eyes is to promote the chance to go within and to take that inward journey and to do the inner work. This reading that I'm going to read to you today is entitled, I Go Within. So I want you to go ahead and take some deep yogic breaths in and out through your nose. And as you're taking these deep breaths, know that the breath can help to calm and slow you down, to help you get more embedded in your body, but also to drop out of your head and more into your spiritual heart. Between pranayama, our breath work, and the pratyahara, the sensory withdrawal from closing the eyes, this will help us to be a better listener for this passage. I was a prisoner carrying a heavy load of bones and flesh, but I have broken the chains of my muscle-bound body by the power of relaxation. I am now set free, and try to go within. Bewitching scenic beauties, stop your dance from my eyes. Lure not my attention away. Enchanting melodies, keep your mind enthralled in the revels of the earthly songs. Haunting sirens of sweet sensations, paralyze not my sacred intuitions by your enticing touch. Let my meditation race for the sweet bower of eternal divine love. Luring aroma of lilacs, jasmine, and roses, stop not my homeward marching mind. These tempting enchantrances of the senses are now gone. The cords of flesh are broken. The grip of the senses are loosened. I exhale and stop the storms of breath, and the ripples of my thoughts melt away. I am sitting on the altar of my throbbing heart. I watch the roaring, shouting torrent of life force moving from my heart and through my body. I now turn backward towards my spine. The beat and the roar of the heart are gone. And like a sacred hidden river, my life force flows in the gorge of my spine. I enter a dim corridor through the door of the spiritual eye and speed on until at last the river of my life flows into the ocean of life and loses itself in bliss. So I want to remind you now that when we go into our practice, especially yin and restorative practices, we may begin at the outer physical layer, but we want to drop deeper into the energetic layer, into the mental layer, into the layer of discernment, of wisdom, and finally into that layer of bliss. Let's set that as our intention today. Draw the feet now closer together and bring your left knee in towards your chest. We're going to wrap the strap around the ball of the left foot and then extend it overhead, reaching that foot up towards the ceiling, but holding the ends of the strap into the left hand only. We're just going to remain here for a moment to open the back of the leg, to stretch out the hamstrings. I'm keeping the strap in our left hand because we're going to wave the leg from side to side. So on your next inhalation, carry the left leg over about 12 inches away from your body. And as you exhale, bring it back up and continue to move right so the foot crosses over the navel. Inhale, waving the leg to the left. And exhale, waving it back to the right. Do it one more round. Now plug the right hip down with your right hand and slowly cascade the left leg off to the left side of the body until it's about, I don't know, a ruler or two distance away from the ground. You want to keep your belly button neutral so that you're not turning or tipping in your hips or pelvis. And I want you to be aware of the stretch in the inner thigh. This is going to be a dominant area that we work with today. When we're opening up this way, there's 3 energetic pathways that we're targeting: the liver, spleen, and kidney meridians. On the next in breath, bring the leg back up, swap hands to hold the strap, carry it all the way over into a spinal twist. Now the foot will hang out maybe, again, a ruler or two distance away from the ground. Always check in with your left shoulder and your low back. The left shoulder should stay planted downward. You just want to make sure you're not winding too much for the low back. You'll be able to tell through sensation and whether or not you're able to optimally breathe. Inhale, let's return to center. And then exhale, bend the knee, remove the foot. We'll take it to the other side. So the right knee draws in, strap wraps around the padding of the foot, extend it upward, and then extend your right hand towards the foot so that you can grip a hold of both ends of the strap. Your left hand can just rest on the belly. Holding in a steadfast way. Bringing warmth and suppleness to the hamstrings. I'm not giving you any more instruction, but you can always be more active if you prefer. And then we'll start to wave the leg. So we'll inhale, take it about 12 inches over to the right. Exhale, bring it back up and cross over your midline. And we're waving the leg to the right as we breathe in. Across to the left as we breathe out. Now, the next time you breathe in, let's go ahead and bring that right leg on down, but hold down your left hip. You can also fire into the left leg for a little bit more stability. Always paying attention to notice how it's showing up, which side has the greater sensation. This way we're getting to know our bodies better. Inhale, let's bring the leg back up. Swap hands to hold the strap. Your right arm can flare off to the side now as you roll into your twist. If you want more activity, you can always press the foot into the strap. Breathe up and down your right side body. Inhale, roll out of the twist. Exhale, bend the knee, remove the strap. Now take a hold of both feet or shins for the happy baby pose. Notice if your buttocks wants to curl off the floor, and if you want to be truly yin, it's actually okay. But if you prefer sinking down and anchoring your low back, then go ahead and incorporate that in. You are using your arm strength to pull the feet down, display the legs wide. This way you're digging a little bit more into your hips, but notice it's not just hips, it's the inner thighs as well. Feel free to close your eyes. Focus on your breath. Be patient, especially when we move into an area of the body that may feel more tense or tight. And it's okay if you don't want to do this rock and roll maneuver. It's okay if you want to roll to one side of your body and come up to a squat. But I'm going to rock and roll forward. And that means we basically just let go of the feet. Once the feet touch down, I'm using the hands to push the buttocks up to come into Malasana squat. And instead of being active, we're going to be more yin, meaning that the elbows, instead of pushing the knees wide, will softly kind of lower towards the floor. Your head will bow, and you can rest the thumbs into the third eye. If you're wobbly with your balance, or if you need something to stack under your heels, you can put a blanket or bolster underneath the back of the feet. If this is just too much for your knees today, you can always rest on a block or the ground and come into it this way. There are days where we need to do less. We have gravity. You may think it's working for you. You may start to feel it's working against you. Let's try to hold it 3 more breaths. Bring your hands down. And you're going to slowly elevate your sits bones. Turn the feet more parallel. Your stance is wide. And you're folding over with your knees softly bent. It's okay to give a little roll in your neck. So even though we opened up the hamstrings earlier, notice what you're experiencing now. This yin form can become pretty intense. So if you feel the need to bend the knees a little bit extra, that's okay. If you need to lift halfway up and take a breather before you come back down, that's okay too. There's a statement that you guys have probably seen, heard, or read somewhere, and I'm not 100% aligned with it, but I do get what they're trying to say. There's a statement out there that says, the yoga pose begins the moment you want out. And I'm not 100% aligned with it because there are times where we receive warning signs or red signals or some sort of feedback or just knowledge about ourselves, knowing that we shouldn't be in it anymore. But I get what they're trying to say because in yin poses, we're holding them longer for a different intention. And one of those intentions is to develop some patience and to bear witness in a calm way what's occurring. What's my reaction to it? But please don't feel like you have to stay. I do want us to try clipping a hold of our elbows. Once you cross your arms, notice it gets heavier. The intensity may start on now. Especially if you're cupping a hold of your arms and kicking your sits bones up just a smidge. All right, we're going to release the arms and heel toe the feet towards one another. Take your time because we held that a bit. Once the feet line up side by side, straighten your legs. Lift your hands to your shin bones. And then allow the arms to carry you up. Bring the palms together overhead. Bring the chin now to be parallel to the floor with your thumbs tapping your upper back. Roll the elbows towards your ears. Keep your thighs back, but puff up your chest. So in other words, we're not trying to tuck the tailbone. This is more about the thoracic area of the back. You may have heard it called the dorsal region of the back. Now inhale, extend the arms back to upward worship. And on the exhale, follow your gaze with your hands. As the hands pour down through your center, you're going to fold over your legs to Uttanasana. Now on your next inhalation, we're going to step the right leg way back. And when you step that right leg back, we're going to pulsate here. And as we inhale, we're lifting the hips up. And as we exhale, we're dropping them low. So that's basically all we're doing here for now. Lifting the hips on the in-breath. Dropping them down on the out-breath. Now we're going to walk the hands over to the right side of the mat. The left foot will turn to face the corner. Your right foot will plant. Your right leg stays straight, and you're moving into Skandasana. So the right leg stays extended, the left knee's in the side lunge, and you're attempting to roll the hip and the inner thigh away from your waist. Now do that crouching tiger over to Skandasana. Your right foot will turn to face the corner of the mat. Left leg extends. Don't feel like you have to go very low, right? You can be somewhat high. Your hands may not even want to come to the floor. Your hands may be in prayer position at your heart. Test the waters here. Now walk it over to the left side again. We're just kind of coasting back and forth. Holding it when we arrive for a few rounds of breath. And then back over to the right. Hold and breathe. So earlier this week when we were doing all those locust poses, you may have been a little sore in the buttocks. After this practice, you may be a little sore through your inner thighs. We're moving back towards the front of the mat, Skandasana first, and then we're just going to swivel around for the low lunge. Drop the back knee, shin foot. And when you're here, I want you to prop your hands up to your knee. And I want you to move the breastbone over towards the kneecap. Let your breastbone rest on your knee bone. Hands can release, and you can be on the back of the hands, your fists, your palms, whatever feels good. But you're not locking your arms. Your elbows have a little looseness so that your chin can spill over towards your shin. Now this particular positioning of how removing the chest towards the knee is said to be really good for allergies. And I don't know about you, but all these fronts that have been moving in has me stirred up. And ladies, I also recognize that with certain hormonal spikes in the body, the breast can get tender. So if you feel like you're too tender, or if it's, suffocating in any way, not being able to breathe, you don't have to rest this way. You can just be more natural where you're falling to the inside of the knee. You're not pressing your hips down, but they are sinking lower just from the lunge as well as gravity. Now inhale, let's lift the head up. Let's curl the back toes under. Lift the back knee. Take time as you step the left leg back, because I know that was a lot. And once you arrive in plank, we're going to be shifting the body forward on the inhale, so shoulders cross past the wrist. And as we exhale, we're pushing back into the calves and heels. So the inhale, we're rocking forward, and the exhale, we're rocking back. And you can do this from just moving your feet back and forth, but see if you can also connect to your quads and your core, creating that shift for you. Now, the next time you rock forward, lower down to chaturanga into a prone position, and then we'll walk the arms forward to prop ourselves into Sphinx, and we're going to do it actively today. So to be active in our Sphinx pose, line up the elbows underneath the head of the shoulder bones, plug them down so the heart and the head lifts. Lengthen your leg bones back, glue the tops of the feet to the sticky mat, and notice when you plug the feet down, the glutes get a little tighter. Keep that action in the buttocks. Retract the belly away from the floor towards your spine. And breathe. Now loosen the hips, the buttocks, the legs. You can even rock it gently side to side. We're going to turn the right forearm in front of the chest. Pick up the left foot. Now, if all you can do is this, just be here, okay? If, however, you can take the left hand around to find the big toe side of the foot, you will push the foot down and bring it towards your outer thigh or hip. This is a half frog. We have a couple different frog poses in yoga. This is one of them. There's not a lot of poses that we have to stretch the quads, but this is a great one. All right, we're going to remove that back hand. We're going to replace the right arm with the left and move to the second side. The right foot elevates, the toes point. And maybe this is all you can handle. But if your right hand can wrap around to find and to sink the foot lower, then move into the quad stretch on the other side. Keep your heart propped up. The eyes can be open or closed. So observing, which side you feel where you need it the most. I'm feeling it more on this right side. Yours may be opposite of that. Let's remove the hand from the foot. Slide your hands up underneath your chest, come down to your brow. Inhale, push up to all fours. Curl your toes under and launch into downward facing dog. Press down through your palms. Lengthen up and out through the arm shaft of the spine. Press through the balls of the feet so your legs are actively lifting. Head cascades between the arms. When you're ready, let's step that right foot forward and up between the hands. And it may not come all the way, so you can use your hand to step it forward. And then this is where we're going to pulsate up on the inhale and sink down the exhale. Go ahead at your pace, according to your breath. From here, plant your back foot, turn your right foot to the corner. Your hands will walk down the other side of your mat for Skandasana. Now notice if that right knee wants to cave in. This is where we're trying to open out the thigh and hip. Make sure that you're not all the way over, catty-cornered, like the foot is. We actually want the spine coming forward and out from the side of your mat. All right, I'm ready to move to the other side. Whew, that was a lot. Left foot, make sure it's turned to the corner. Same approach. Thigh, hip roll open away from your waist. Don't feel like you have to be this low. You can absolutely be higher with your hands to your heart or hands to blocks. All right, coast over to the right knee. Once more to the left. Bring it back towards the right foot, but we're going to go ahead and swirl around to face the front, lowering the back knee, untucking the back toes. We'll prop the hands up onto the thigh, and we're going to shift the upper body, twisting it so that we can lay the breastbone over the knee. Relax your elbows, lower your head. And just let the pose and gravity work together. This is a great psoas release. Three more breaths. Step back to the fingertips, float the head up, curl the back toes, and you may have a little challenge stepping that back foot forward. That's to be expected, it's okay. Take your time. Once they land side by side, fold over, dangling, or Uttanasana. Inhale, let's come halfway up. Separate the hands from the shins, take them all the way up, gathering what you need. And then from upward worship, bring the thumbs to the upper back. Elbows roll in towards the ears. Chest puffs up towards the heavens. Inhale, upward worship. Exhale, ending that sun sow, hands to heart. All right, we're gonna come down to the floor and we're gonna lay on the right side. So I'm gonna face you for this. It's okay if you can't face me, but you may wanna see at least what I'm doing to start with. You've done it with me before. It's called Anatastada. And your head can be resting down on the shoulder or lifted up in your palm. We're gonna test our balance, okay? To see if we can line up in one straight line with the body. If your balance is really off today, you can change that up by sending the heels more forward, okay? But the challenge is being in a straight line. You could do either one. We're gonna slowly turn the left toes upward and send the leg skyward. If you need your left hand for balance, you can just hold the leg in midair. If you can balance, take it to the calf or to the foot. We do have a strap available. You can even use a strap to connect the two together. If you use the strap, you may want the angle of the leg to supply more balance. So again, this is what we're targeting today, the adductor muscles, the inseam of the leg, more specifically the thigh. And then we're going to try to control our way down, okay? But we're coming down into a prone position. So this is where if your right leg was slid forward, now you may want to maneuver it back in that long line. Bring your left hand down for balance. And then keep that left foot flexed initially. And you're just going to slowly bring it down. And when you bring it down, turn onto your front side. Your left arm will reach out in front, your right arm to your right side. So basically we're pointed north, south, east, west. Now some people prefer resting on chin or brow. I like to turn to one cheek. In this position, I actually turn to face the arm. And then I want you to close your eyes and notice the behavior of your body. We've been programmed and conditioned to work, to do. But this pose is less about doing. So are you still flexing the left foot or can you soften it? Can You relax the other limbs and simply be here. Notice if your jaw or your teeth or your lips are clenched. And if so, bring some softness here to your mouth. Even notice if your tongue is pushing up to the rooftop or pressing into the back of the teeth. You relax the muscle there, so the tongue is more relaxed. All right, now bend your left knee and then slide your left leg back. Lift your face up, slide your right hand closer to your chest, and just roll to your left side. And once you roll to your left side, determine, does your head need to stay on the shoulder, or can you prop it up? This side, you may have a different state of balance. So try the straight line with your right hand in front of you. And then if you need to angle the left leg, that's okay. We're going to flare the right leg up. And maybe taking the hand to hold the thigh, the calf, or the foot. See what's possible. This is one of the poses where it may not be helpful to close the eyes, because closing the eyes can play with our balance. Even though we're on the floor, still stay safe. We're going to let go of the leg. Bring the right hand down. If the left leg was angled, slide it back and try to use some control, keeping that right foot flexed as you bring it down to the other side. Spin onto your belly and chest. Right arm's going to reach in front, the left arm to your left side. And then close the eyes and continue to surrender here in this pose. Remember what Yogananda said, you can set yourself free and you get more relaxed. So this pose, you get to relax into it. Now we'll slide the right foot down, the right leg back to join the left. And the hands are going to slip back underneath the shoulders, and we're going to push up and back to a quick extended child's pose. Inhale, rock up hands and knees. And we're going to come down to a seat. Now, I suggest, I don't know, if you're on carpet, it's not a big deal. But if you're on a hardwood floor, I suggest turning sideways on your mat, just because that little padding is just helpful. And we're going to start off active. So the thighs actually are going to push down and the heels are going to press out. You're going to extend your arms shoulder height, and we're going to take a twist. So we're going to move the left arm over towards the right foot. Doesn't have to touch. And then inhale to the top. Exhale, now right hand over towards the left. Inhale to the top. All right, so we're just kind of helicoptering from side to side as we breathe. Let's do one more to each side. And this will be our final twist today. And once you inhale, come up. Exhale, let the hands release and go ahead and give a little shimmy to the legs, to the feet. We'll be a little bit more yin now. And I will tell you, this pose was the one that I dreaded the most in the first few years I did yoga, because I just felt like I was so bad at it. And I couldn't go very far. I was really locked. And if you feel locked, just honor where you feel locked. It may be your hips, it may be your hamstrings, it may be those inner thighs, could be your back. Now you can always, create like a Stonehenge to cross your arms over. I'm just bringing the bolster in front to rest on. You can bow your head, you can close your eyes. It's all about just letting go. On the next inhale, let's go ahead and begin to back away from that pose. That's a big pose. It doesn't look like a lot, but then when you get into it, you really experience it for yourself. All right, what we're gonna, bring the legs back together as best you can. And we're gonna use the bolster to plug under the thighs because we did a lot with the legs today. And you can just, I like to hold on to the bolster when I'm rolling back because we have the tendency to slide. And then you'll just get supine again. Maybe crawl the shoulders down from the ears. Determine if you want the hands open and receptive away from the body, or if it feels better for you to place your hands as a nurturing touch, taking residence over the stomach. Take 3 deep breaths. And it's time to continue to drop into relaxation. And as you're gaining access to relaxation, I want you to see if you can listen to this passage again. Remembering that yin is about going inside, withdrawing away from the world, connecting back to our true self, connecting back to source energy. I was a prisoner carrying a heavy load of bones and flesh, but I have broken the chains of my muscle-bound body by the power of relaxation. I am now set free. I will try to go within. Bewitching scenic beauties, stop your dance before my eyes and lure not my attention away. Enchanting melodies, keep not my mind enthralled in the revels of earthly songs. Haunting sirens of sweet sensations, paralyze not my sacred intuitions by your enticing touch. Allow my meditation to race for the sweet bower of eternal divine love. Luring aroma of lilacs and jasmine and roses, stop not my homeward marching mind. These tempting enchantresses of the senses are gone. The cords of flesh have been broken and the grip of the senses loosened. I exhale and stop the storm of my breath, and the ripples of thoughts melt away. I am sitting on the altar of my throbbing heart, and I watch the roaring, shouting torrent of life force moving through the heart and through the body. I now turn backward towards the spine. The beat and the roar of the heart are gone. And like a sacred hidden river, my life force flows in the gorge of the spine. I enter a dim corridor through the door of the spiritual eye and speed on until at last the river of my life flows into the ocean of life and loses itself in bliss. So continue to relax. Continue to pull back and within yourself and see if you can connect to your inner bliss. Hearing the sound of the bell chime, return home to your breath. Curl the knees into your chest. Land to one side of your body. And come up and we'll close our practice. And bring our hands to prayer position at the heart. Our intention was to go within. Our intention was to break the bonds in our minds and bodies so that we could set ourselves free. Hopefully you set yourself free enough and you're relaxed enough to arrive into that layer of bliss, the Anandamaya Kosha. If not, there's still time, hopefully, in your day to sit and meditate. And it would be a perfect time to do it once we end. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaste.